Welcome to DNBC TV, where we discuss business and have interesting guests that share their stories. Ryan Lau comes from an ordinary working family in Penang, Malaysia. He graduated from Inti colleges and universities with a major in international business from the University of Wollongong. Despite being only 22 years old, Ryan Lau has extensive working experience, starting from just 12 years old. He explored 8 different career paths in total, from a pump attendant at a petrol station to several sales positions to being a housekeeper at a hotel. He even started and ran his own small business for over a year. However, the game changer came when he learned administrative and human resource development as a recruiter at Star Future Advisors. He started his journey with Great Eastern Life in Malaysia since October 2017. Being more mature from his extensive working experience, that gave him an advantage to progress even faster than his peers. At just 21 years old, last year, Ryan became the youngest top of the table in the world, and he was the youngest court of the table the year before, at just 20 years old. But it doesn't stop there. His various other awards include the International Dragon Award, National Advisors Award, Akart Personal Diamond, Great Supreme Producers Club, Great Eastern Supremacy New Decade Award, Exclusive Award, and many, many others. Today, we welcome Ryan Lau to the studio. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for joining us today. You've come from very humble beginnings, so let's talk about how you started. You worked your way from housekeeping to human resources. How did you do that? What was your motivation?
When I was 12 years old, I was already working, and my first job was actually as a pump attendant at this Shell station. And then after that, I did a lot of these casual jobs. I was in housekeeping as in the type of people where they clean the toilets, then they clean the room. I was that kind of housekeeping. But the hotel which I worked in for this housekeeping position is going to close actually in March.
Oh no!
It's called Equatorial Penang. They're going to close because they are quite big, so they have a lot of fixed costs, so they're going to close. But you know what to do. And then eventually I also ran some small businesses along the side. And then I was also in these, I was also selling batteries. Just imagine that. I was selling batteries, Energizer batteries. And eventually I was also in HR for a while. So along the way, I would say from the time I was 12 until now, I've been working for 10 years. So it was 10 years which I have been studying. I was studying, and then I was also working at the same time. So I was always juggling so many things at the same time. So people always ask me, why do you have to do this? You can wait until you are a graduate. You don't have to rush into the working market because you have maybe 30 to 40 years to work. Why do you have to rush things so fast? And then my mindset was very different back then, because I realized that if I don't find something which I can work on, which I can continue after I graduate, I realized that opportunities will be very limited. Because you see, many of my seniors, even when I was in secondary school, I realized some of them, they don't continue to the tertiary education. The biggest problem is how fast can you find a job after you have graduated? Mm-hmm. Many of them, I don't know, back when the economy was still doing okay, some of them, they took up to 6 months, 1 year. It's very common for that to happen. So, the pressure that they face, the problems that they had to go through. I mean, why should I put myself in a position where I have to follow the market? Why should I follow the market? Why should I wait until everybody's graduated, where everybody is out in the market? And why should I compete with my friends? Why don't I start something where I can successfully continue the business even after my graduation? So that was what I had in mind. But along the way, I've been working for a long time. I've been working for 10 years. From all the people that I know of, I think I started working the youngest, and I'm the first one who went out into business on my own. Because when we started the business, we didn't have any funding. It was not like I got a business loan because I was too young. And then I'm from a very normal family. We are not a business family. We don't have the funding. So the kind of story you hear from me is actually very rare, because this is what you get from somebody who was born in the 60s or 70s, where they actually started with almost no resources. I'm that kind of person. So if that's the answer you want, I think that's my I think that is the synopsis to the last 10 years in very short terms.
But what pushed you to start working at just 12 years old? At 12 years old, we were all busy with UPSR and things like that, but you were like, no, I'm just going to enter the workforce. Why at 12?
No, because for me, it's very simple. Even from when I was very young, I was already very independent. I was doing everything on my own. So when I got to 12 years old, there was this time when I realized that money is very important. Why do I say so? Because my family is the type that they won't let you go hungry. But if you want something else in your life, you have to work for it. So and when I was brought up in that kind of environment, it's very hard for me to ask for money from my parents. I don't know whether you feel that as well, but for me, it's very tough to ask my father or my mother for money because I feel as if I can earn that kind of money on my own. So when I was 12 years old, some of this family friend was hiring, you see, and then they just needed somebody on the station to do all this kind of sweep the floor lah, handle the cashier lah, open up this station because the station runs from 6 in the morning until 10 at night, 6 until 10. So if they open at 6, we have to be there by 5. I think 5:50 lah. Actually, I'm not very clear, but I knew that we had to be there earlier, or somebody else had to go there to open up everything first because at night we lock everything up. We have to lock the glass door, the ones where we actually see in front of stations, and the toilet door, and then we have to bring everything out because we put everything back at night. The fire extinguisher, then we lock our pumps, then we have to get all these lorries, all these buses. They like to sleep inside the station at night. I don't know why lah. So we have to wake them up as well. And then while we are doing this, the cars will start coming in. So the job was okay. I learned a lot of things. The hardest thing about that job was that you have to stand for a long time because we don't get to sit. We don't get to sit while we are working. We are always running around. You're always looking for people because we are very, very careful. People who come to pump, we have to make sure that if we open the pump to let them take the fuel, they must pay or else they will run away. Because I've seen that before, especially motorcycles. It's very easy for them to escape. So we have to be very careful because the losses is on the boss. It's also on my job. So I have to be very careful. So the main reason back then was because I wanted to have my own money. I didn't want to ask people for money. I wanted to be independent financially because I just wanted, back then, it was not like I was very ambitious back then, but I just wanted to have my own money to do whatever it is that I want. Maybe it's just to buy something extra for myself.
I think at 12, if you have a job, it's already very ambitious, to be honest. You have to consider that most 12-year-olds don't really have a job in modern society. Most of the time, especially in Asian communities, your parents will ask you to go study, make sure you get straight A's for your UPSR. It's never really about the money at that stage. But the fact that you were already out there at 12 years old is like, it is different than most people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should give yourself credit.
I think my parents are okay because I was the type that is very independent where I've always been managing things on my own. I'm not from the kind of family where everything is pre-planned for me. I'm the one who pre-planned everything. And then most of the time, like even to this day, the whole house, I will manage the whole house. I clean the floor, I sweep the floor, I mop the floor, I do everything on my own. So in that sense, I even wash my parents' clothes. I used to wash their clothes last time because I was washing my own clothes and I realized, why don't I wash their clothes? The only thing I can't do is I iron their clothes because I don't like ironing. So I guess that gives them some confidence in the sense that they know that I can manage things on my own. Then even when I go out, I was not the type where my parents had a lot of involvement throughout my growing process because they were always busy working. So they knew that I can manage on my own. So, after a while, they get used to it. I think they get used. I think they are used to it now. It's been 10 years, so I think they are okay with it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your management. The company you started, how old were you? What was that business about and what was that like?
Which company?
The one that you ran for a year?
The one with a year. Okay. Do you know that there was this time in Malaysia where, all these bracelets, the paracord bracelet, there was this trend going on a few years back where everybody just wanted to buy one. Then so many companies pop up in between. Then people were paying, I think, $80, $100 for it.
Okay.
So I saw this coming in, and I knew that the cost for the materials are actually quite low, but they earn a lot. The margin is very high. So I realized that if I want to get into this business, what do I have to do? To be honest, I didn't know. So what I did was I went to learn all these things from YouTube, from books, because when you want to do the bracelets, you have to learn how to tie it. So the most important thing is your hands. You need to know how to work everything out, how to make the bracelets. That's the first thing. But that is only production. The second thing is you need marketing. or else you won't get the flow of customers. That's the second thing. The third thing is you need to sell, because if you don't close the business, then no point, we're not doing a charity, no point open up the business. So even when you get sales, you need to handle your logistics, because where are your customers? If they are in Penang or are they in Sarawak or in Sabah or somewhere, how do you solve all that? And back then, I was doing all of this on my own. I was one-man show. So how did I manage the business? Back then, I think I was 17 or 18, I forgot. So you see, 17. So I realized that the biggest problem was manpower, because when you're running a business that sells physical products, manpower is very important. So I had to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I was 18. I remember now, because I think almost 18, because you have to wake up at 3 o'clock, and because I go to college at 8, so 3 to 6 or 7 is the time where I do my first production. What do you mean production? You have to tie up the bracelet, because the bracelet, it takes time. So you not only do you have to be fast, you have to make the design where everything is standardized. You cannot make this too tight. One of the bracelets, they look nice, then the other one looks weird. It doesn't work that way. Everything must be standardized, because when I was selling, I was selling to two types of consumers. The first type is the retail type, like just friends or anyone I meet. Retail type, number one. Number two, I was selling to business owners, people with shops that sell camping equipment, for example, survival equipment, for example. Or I did not get into supermarkets because I was not at the size yet, so I couldn't go in. But I could deal with small business owners, people who have small shop lots, stuff like that. So I sold to them at a cheaper price in exchange of volume. So when you get the kind of deals, you have to be very fast, because these people, they don't wait for you. You have to be very fast. So when it's done, you have to move immediately to them, and then you get paid. But you have to make sure that your products are good, because if the products are not up to par, they won't sell. And if they don't sell, you will not have repeat sales from the business owner. So I had two types of consumers back then. So I had to be very fast. And I did it for 1 year. Why? Because the profit back then, I did not lose any money, but I only earned about 1,000 per month. It's not a lot of money, but 1,000 per month, I felt that I was burning myself away, so I didn't want to do it, because it's a one-man show, everything.
So I have to ask, because it sounds like you wake up at 3 a.m. and then you're probably studying as well. So do you even sleep?
Yes, you have to sleep. If you have to do that, you have to sleep 2 times a day. Like you sleep at night, and then you sleep again in the afternoon, like many people do in the market. Like if you work in the market, that's how you do it. Or if you're a fisherman, that's how you do it. You can do it, but of course, it's very tiring. I wouldn't suggest anybody to try this. It's not healthy.
But what other sacrifices have you made in terms of your physical health for the sake of your career and things like that?
The pressure of running a business, of course, the pressure will always be there, because we have to know, we have to understand, when we are employees and when we become business owners, the process itself is very different. So when you're an employee, your job is mostly 9 to 5. If you want to be an average employee, it's 9 to 5. And then whatever your boss asks you to do, just solve it. That's it. And then don't give any excuses. Just get it done well. But when the company makes any losses, you don't have to pay. But if any legal issues happens to the company, you're not responsible for it. Your boss have to solve that problem. But then when you become a business owner, like when I did at a very young age, you have to handle a lot of things, and you have to learn very fast. And you do not get an opportunity where I will only do this business after I have learned everything. You have to do the business and learn along the way. So that was the situation I had. And then the biggest sacrifice, I think, is time. You don't have time for anything else. Your life is the business. That business is your life. So if you're not willing to do that sacrifice, don't go into business. Just do your best. Get a job somewhere, get a career somewhere. Getting into business is not for everyone.
Would you say that you sacrifice your social life for the sake of your business then?
I wouldn't use the word sacrifice. I would say delayed gratification. Because, I don't think I suffered a lot in that sense. People who support you will always be there for you. I believe that.
Do you draw a line between networking and socializing? Or do you see these two things as like they are the same?
I have close friends who don't change because of my status or because of things like that. Those people will always be close to me. And they are also the types of friends when you do very well, everybody comes to you. They are also the kind of people, it's very normal. Mm-hmm. This is how society works. But for me, those who were there with me before I was anything, I mean, those will be my friends. And the rest, I mean, I welcome you. That's all I can say lah. Because we don't have the time, because I don't have the time to sit down there and decide who is a friend, who is not. My job is to do the best with all I have. And then if you ask for help, if I can do it, I will help you. That's all I can say lah.
All right. So we've worked from pump attendant to small business owner at age of 16, at age of 18, sorry.
Yeah.
And now,
Yeah.
tell us what you are doing now, because I see you on social media, I see you achieving so much, and it's just almost impossible to follow all your success. So in maybe 3 major bullet points, what are you doing now?
I mean, if you want to, I mean, let me do a very brief summary lah. How I got into the business, because I was working all the while. And then when I got into college, I was looking for another job. I went to 10 places for that particular interview. So I did interview after interview. And then when I went to my current boss, she was hiring for something like administration HR position. So I said, I want this position. Then I asked her, when can I start? Then she said, when do you want to start? Then I said, what did I say? I think I said anytime soon. So while I was doing that position, I was selling batteries, and I was also a student. So I had to run 3 places at the same time. And then she hired me. Then I was working for her for a few months. Then eventually I became an agent, because I realized that if you are not running your own business, you'll never have full control over your life. So I wanted that control. I want to decide when I can do whatever I want. So I told myself I want to run my own business. So I think I just turned 18 back then, 18 plus. I'm not sure. I don't really remember. I signed my contract and I became this advisor with Great Eastern.
That's incredible. And that was just after, because you were 18, right? So you just ended your paracord business, and then you moved straight into another business of being an agent with Great Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that job entail? You said that it's running your own business. How is being an agent for a company running your own business?
Okay. Let's look at it this way. Because in the company, there are many managers. There are many managers. So the managers, they are their agents, they are the field force. They are the field force of the company. So the job of the field force, just like any other company in the world, the first thing the company must do is to make sure there is enough revenue coming in to let the company survive and eventually to thrive, to do well. So when we are expanding our business, we need to get more manpower. You either improve the number of your people, or you increase the average production of your agents, of your people. So there are only 2 options. So when I went in as an advisor, I would bring in this amount of sales. So this amount of sales would be part of my manager's sales production. And then this will eventually become the company's sales production. Then this amount of money, part of the funds which you, like commission, when you sell this amount, you are paid a certain amount. So it's a very fair exchange. Then in exchange of whatever it is we do, we are paid, but we don't get a fixed salary. No business person gets a fixed salary. So when we are running our business, we are mature enough, we can start doing things like, for example, you can start hiring your own staff. You can buy your own office. You can invest in different things that is related to the business. So there are different things. It's just like running a business. There's no difference. The only thing is you are selling products, you are selling services that someone has created from the company. That's the only thing. So you don't have to go through the process where you have to invent the whole thing. Then you have to think of a way. We don't have to go through all that, because everybody knows Great Eastern. Everybody knows who we are, what we do. So the marketing is already there. We just have to sell. We just have to do it well, and we are paid for that.
And you provide the service of like the in-person, personality.
Yeah, because, do you know why we exist? Do you know why there are more than 100,000 agents in Malaysia? We create value. You know why? Because, for example, today when you are sick, touch wood, for example, touch wood, I'm sick. Don't say you. Let's say I'm sick. I can't go to the pharmacy and grab something and assume I think I have this pain here. I just grab some paracetamol and this, I don't know, eat how much. I just eat some amount and I will get well. I mean, you might get well, you might solve your own problem, but why don't you get somebody who is professional, who knows what they are doing, who have been doing this for so long, or have met so many people, they know what's going on and they can solve this for you. I mean, in the long run, we need advisors, we need consultants in our life. Like anything, when you do your tax, we don't, for example, for me, myself, my business, I don't do my own tax. I let this accountant firm do it. And if you want to eat good food, you don't cook yourself, you go to a nice restaurant, stuff like that lah. So we are the same thing. We provide consultation for you. So in exchange of that, you get the best arrangement for yourself. That's all I can say.
So you've run this business for 2 years already, right?
Yeah.
Your own Great Eastern company business. You've run it for about 2 years since 2018. So what have
it's about? I started in 2017, about 4
years?
About 4. Yeah, about 4 years.
All right. So
because I started in 2017, October of 2017. Yeah.
Okay. So in 4 years, what kind of growth have you seen?
What kind of growth? Let's put it this way. When I first went into the company at the end of 2017, it was actually very normal because I had 2 months and I was learning everything on my own with my manager and with the group because I'm in a very big team. So I would say I did okay. I did very average production in my first year because I was learning everything. And even in my first year, I realized that this business is not as easy as it thinks because we have to run our own business. Because even though I did several businesses before that, I realized that my mindset was still very much like an employee because my parents are employees. So naturally, I have this environment where everything is very employee-like, your mindset. Eventually, after my first year, I realized being an employee and being a business owner, being an entrepreneur is two different things. So I realized I have to change. So after my first year, I changed everything. The way I do everything changed in my second year. So in the second year, which is 2018, 2018, I was how old was I? I was 19, I think. I was 19. I was 19. I was the youngest in my group because everybody had the assumption that you have to be mid-20s to do this business. If you are too young, you're not very suitable. Of course, that has changed because I went into the group and I changed a lot of things. Because I was young and I did certain things which people thought was not so possible. So when in 2018, I did my businesses like normal, but there are certain things I did which my peers did not do. For example, I was willing to invest all of my profits back into the business. Why do I say this? Like, let's say, if I do not have enough money to even survive, there's the risk of me dying off. As long as I can cope, as long as I can manage for a few more months, I'm willing to reinvest the money to go somewhere to learn whatever I need to do well. Because I realized that if I do not know how to run this business efficiently, I will not survive. Because back then I was so young and then my market was so limited. I was only 19 years old. Who are my customers, stuff like that. I have to figure all this out on my own. So I realized that if I don't learn from some people who are doing very well, I might not even survive in the business. So I went to many places. I went overseas. I just went wherever that I just learned everything that I could. Anyone who were willing to teach me, I would just go. So I reinvested everything I had. And then even in 2018, I already employed a few employees, I remember, because I realized that if I want to expand the business, my job is to find more revenue for the company to survive, for my people to survive, for me to survive. So I needed to make more time for myself. So the only way we have to hire people so that we have the space to think of other things, or else we will always be busy with little things. So I hired a lot of people back then. And then I realized that I had to do things differently because you know why? Because back then I was studying, and then I was also doing sales on my own, and I was also recruiting. So three different, very different things at the same time. You just have to juggle everything at the same time. So I realized that if I just have to do it well because I made the decision to join the business. So I told myself, okay, how are we going to do this to the best of our ability? So, I just did the best I could back then. While studying at the same time. I do not know whether you knew me back then while I was studying and I was working at the same time. Some people saw that, but many people did not understand what I was doing because back then I was not like this. I was riding a motorcycle and I carried all my customers' documents in my bag or at the the container at the back of the motorcycle, and then I was a type that was very safe. I just save everything now. Just save everything that I earned just to put back to the business. It was just like that. And then I was on a motorcycle. So many people had this assumption that I might not even survive in the business. But in 2018, I actually did very well. I did my MDRT and IDA. these are the two awards in the industry which I would say the beginning to another level. So I did that, and then whatever I earned in the first year, I pump it back into the business. So for me myself, I had to be very careful.
I think it's a lot of these unassuming things, like people don't see it and then they think that it's not going to happen, but it's only when you start to have all the marketing around it, then people start to recognize for what it is in a lot of ways as well.
I mean, it is the same for every business person. If we are going to do something that some people think will which is achievable, which is realistic, then I would suggest don't do it, because it's not worth it. You have to do something that is, it doesn't have to be great, but at least it means something to you, that it is important enough for you to sacrifice a part of your life to do whatever it is you want to do, like maybe running your own business. If you are going to do that, whatever people say, they don't matter. But if you're the type that happens to care about what people say, then don't go into business, because doing business, it involves us to think a lot, to stop a lot of things every day. So we are no longer the same person we are as we used to. So we have to always be very independent.
You draw very interesting distinctions between the employee mindset and the entrepreneur, let's call it boss mindset, because like throughout the conversation I've heard you always draw this distinction. So do you think that one form of mentality is right over the other, or do you see it more as a personality compatibility, or do you see it as people, there are very few people who have boss mentality, but the people who do and the people who cultivate it well are truly the ones who succeed? Or is society built geared towards this group? What are your thoughts?
Many people ask me this question. There is no right or wrong, but let me put it this way. An employee, most of the employees in the market, anywhere in the world, they have not run their own business before. Most of them, I would say maybe 80%, 90%. Okay, they have not had their own businesses before. But I would say 80 to 90% of entrepreneurs, of people we call, I won't use the word boss because I don't like that word, but I would say business owners, they have been employees before. Most of them have. So you see, employees do not really understand how all these business owners, they run everything. But business owners, they know how employees run everything. You know why? Because they were working in the market before. So even today, I believe if you want to be very good business owners, we have to have experience working for somebody else in a small company and also in a big company. If you want to be a good so-called boss, like for me myself, I think I'm more than qualified. You know why? Because I work in all this casual work, all these low-paying jobs, and I was also working in hospitality for a while. So I know what it feels like to be at the very bottom. So when I get to the very top, I know what the guys are thinking. Those who are working for me, I know what they are thinking because I've been there myself. I've done it. So I have the confidence to ask you to do things which I think you can. Yes, because I've done it myself. But if I did not have the experience, I don't think I would have the confidence or the ability to guide the people, my partners, the people who are working with me. I don't think I would have the ability.
Well, now that you're on the top, obviously you're surrounded by like-minded people who are also business owners, also successful leaders and things like that. Do you see a difference in the beginnings, like where you guys come from to where you end up? So for example, a contrast would be someone like you versus someone who was born into money, who inherited their company. Do you see a difference in the way you believe or you manage or your priorities versus people who have already been handed everything in kind of like a silver platter kind of manner?
Because I'm in the financial planning business, so there is definitely a big difference. If your parents or your ancestors, they are people who are considered more wealthy and maybe they have left some money in the trust fund or stuff like that. They are trust fund babies. There are a lot of them nowadays. So there is a big difference. But let me put it this way. If we are the type of people who have been handed down a lot of money, I wouldn't say it's easy, to be honest, because we still have to learn to manage the money, or else the money will still slowly disappear. I mean, very rich people and very poor people, they have the same problem. These people in these categories, they have a lot of headaches. You know why? People who are too poor have no resources at all. People who are too rich have too much resources to manage. So it is the same thing. But for people like me who did not have much, and then we got to somewhere, I would say, doing okay lah, not too bad. So I would say it gives you a certain kind of confidence to know that we actually went through the whole process. We did not skip anything. We went through step by step. We did not have any elevator to bring us up. We had to take the stairs step by step. We have to face everything. I mean, people might have to face what I'm facing now when they're in the 40s or 50s or even 60s, because I have to do all of this in just a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years of running this business. So all this experience is very important. It helps me every day because it is part of me. And I'm running a business. I would say sometimes because we have to solve many things. Sometimes it's like trying to chew glass. Glass. Like this glass. You have to like chew the glass and then you have to swallow it. You know what? Why do I say that? Because you know that part is not going to be easy, but still we want to do it. You know why? Because you want to have full control over our own time. That's all I wanted when I first started off. And I think I've done that. So I don't have to work for somebody, which is good. I only work for my customers. That's all I can say. So my customers are my priority.
All right, we are running out of time, but I really do want to ask so 2 more questions, and then I will let you get back to your very busy schedule. First, in less than 3 minutes, what does your daily life look like? Because you are insanely busy. So what time do you wake up? What do you do? What's your schedule look like? And what time do you finally go to bed?
If I have a very busy day, let's say tomorrow is a Saturday, but let's say tomorrow is a busy day. There's only one choice. You have to wake up early. So I do wake up very early. I try to wake up at 5. You know why? Because the period between 5 to 8, that's the time where we get the most things done. So I try to wake up at 5. So because like I said, around the house, I have to do my chores. So I wake up at 5. I do my chores. You know why? Because nobody is walking around. So I'll be doing my chores in the morning. Then I cook my own breakfast. Especially now, I don't go out as much as I used to. I still do go out, but try to be safe lah. So I cook my own breakfast and I cook for my family as well sometimes. And then I get a lot of messages in my phone. I have a lot of WhatsApp, Telegram, WeChat, Messenger, a lot of all this stuff. So I have to reply to them because these are people, So I have to reply to them, and then that takes maybe half an hour, 1 hour, because there are so many things on the phone nowadays. Sometimes I think my full-time job is to reply messages. My part-time job is to run the business. And then 8 o'clock, 8:30, I'll have my meetings. Normally, my meetings starts from 8:30 until sometimes 11 or until 12:30. It depends. Then after that, if there is no more meeting, then that's fine. But if there is a meeting going on, then I have to move on lah. And then normally from, I would say, 1 or 2 o'clock onwards until 5, I'll be doing my interviews. People which my assistants have arranged for me to meet, or my customers. I have to call them, talk to them, understand what's going on with their lives. They will take maybe 5 to 6, or even at night. It doesn't really matter. It might drag until very late. And then around 8, I will eat something. But before that, I will actually get briefing from my staff. What are the activities coming onwards tomorrow, next week, stuff like that. What do we have to reschedule? Because, like, for example, now everything is so uncertain.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make so many arrangements for next week, but everything can be rescheduled just suddenly because we do not know when the government is going to leave the what they call this movement control order. So everything is you have to be very flexible. So we are always trying to move so fast because everything is so fast nowadays. You have to move faster than the market, or else it will just swallow you.
True. Very
so
true.
Until 8, 9, 10. And then you have to make some time to process the whole day. So I do write. I have a lot of books which I want to write down. What did I do right today? What did I do wrong? How can I improve the whole day? Because there are so many things that I want to learn, not only in the career, but maybe, for example, last time I used to love hiking. I used to love hiking a lot. So all that, I wouldn't say hobby but my passion. So all that takes up time. So that goes up to very late at night. I mean, if you want to ask me what a very average day looks like.
That's
but
incredible.
before MCO, it's not like this. Before MCO, I was always traveling around. I was always, sometimes in KL and then in Penang, then go overseas. I was always somewhere else because my business needs me to be there, so I have to be there.
Do you still have time for any hobbies?
Yeah.
Like your day?
Yeah, why not?
Sound like you
Why
have
not?
hobbies.
I have a lot of hobbies. I mean, I love to work. Working is my passion. The business is my passion, obviously. I mean, I owe a lot to the business. It has given me so much. And my business is my customer, so I have to be loyal to them. That's the first thing. And then once I have solved that, when I can survive and thrive on my own, then okay, I go for hobbies. I'm not the type of person where we do our hobbies, then we do what we love. I mean, we should do what we love, but first of all, that business should ensure we survive. If you cannot survive, then don't do what you love. Do what can help you survive first. So I'm the type that, I mean, I look at things very, it's black or white, whether you survive or not. I mean, that mentality has helped me survive for so long, because many people who actually started their own business, they die off very fast because they are very confused between reality and what is not reality, because they believe, many people believe that their expectation is the truth, but no, we have to fulfill the market's demand until we are strong enough where we can get help from others. So the question was hobbies, a bit carried away, yeah. But of course, I do have hobbies. I like to do exercise. I would like to go back to how it used to be, where I was exercising every day. So I'm trying to make time for that as well.
Okay, so last question. Currently, you are only 23. You've already run so many businesses. You've already achieved so many awards. You've done more than some people do in half or even their whole life. Usually, I ask this question, where do you see yourself in 10 years? But in your case, I think I need to change that question to where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, actually, if you want to be very specific, I'm 22 years old and 1 month, because my birthday just passed last December. So in 5 years, I will be 27 years, 28 years old. Actually, from what I see at the moment, I mean, the market is very unpredictable at the moment currently. So it's very hard to make long-term arrangements. But if you ask me where I see myself, I think you have heard a lot of what I want to do in the business. Let's not talk about that, because I think one of the major goals in my life is to do charity, because I'm somebody who is very, I want to help people, but I don't want to help people just on my own, because one person's time or money is very limited. So, for example, I would say in 5 years, I would have set up my own foundation. But setting up a foundation in Malaysia is not as easy as it seems. It's not just about making money, asking people for money and then giving it away. It's not just that simple. I've been doing research for this for a few years. It's really tough actually to do a foundation on our own. So, of course, I'm also asking a lot of people for help, and that many people are very willing to help me, to coach me throughout this process. So in 5 years, I should have set up my own foundation, and I believe this can be done correctly, because we have to help many of the young people out there. Because in Malaysia, young people, we need a voice, but I do not mean it politically, but I mean it where there should be more young people who are doing very well, like me, to come out and say, we are the good examples. You can do your own business. You can be good employees. There should be more examples from this generation, instead of us having to always look up to people from who was born in maybe the 70s, 80s. I mean, that is good, but why not people in the 90s stand up? I mean, people in the 90s, just imagine, some of them, they're already 31, 32. So I mean, they're not young anymore. So why not come out, inspire more people? Because I mean, we are the future. I mean, we have to take responsibility, you see. So I want to inspire more people to do charity as well, because I realize that the more you give, I wouldn't say the word the more you get, but giving is very important. I mean, everything in my life is because people have been very willing to help me. So I wish to be that person who is helping others as well. I mean, it can be anywhere, but it can be anything. But I think the biggest direction I have at the moment is charity.
That's really amazing, because considering how far you've come and how much you've achieved, for your biggest goal in 5 years to create more people like you.
I wouldn't say the biggest goal, but I would say in 5 years, I believe, and I know it's realistic, and I want to do it because we need to see more people helping others in Malaysia, especially because we cannot wait for the government. We cannot wait for other people, because we are the people and we elect the government. So we have to do it we have to try to help. I'm very willing to do that, because every day I'm also helping on my own every single day, but I'm only one person and I have to run my own business, and I have my own family, my friends, I have things to manage. I want to make it in such a way where people see me and they know that it has been achieved. So anybody can do it. Because you don't have to do charity when you're in your 60s, when you're in your 70s, and you don't have to be rich to do charity. You can be anybody. So I want to do that. I'm doing that all the time, but I wish to do more of it. And I want it to go to a bigger scale.
Well, you can't wait, and we cannot wait to see what you will achieve either, because obviously we have seen your track record. We have seen when you set your mind to do something, you will make it happen. And honestly, I think I speak for a lot of us when I say we cannot wait to see where you will be in 5 years. Thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for joining us on DNBC TV.
Thank you, Suli. Thank you.
All the best.
You are watching DNBC Business Channel.